49% of adults reported Democratic Party affiliation or say they're independent with Democratic leanings throughout the first quarter of this year so far. So, Kurt, what do you attribute this to, and what does that mean for your former party?
Well, I think that it shows that in a party that is building its entire foundation on white nationalist and outwardly racist rhetoric policies, that is something that overall the American people reject. That this is not a country that by and large wants to be for an overtly white nationalist platform or political party. And so this is the problem that the Republican Party has in the long run, and this is where Zerlina's right. While maybe in the short run, in the next 1 or 2 years, it might pick up a few seats here and there, we are headed towards a path where this is going to be a minority-majority country for the first time in the United States history. By 2035, the U.S. Census Bureau estimates that more people of color will outnumber white people in this country. That means the path the Republican Party is on is a permanent path towards electoral failure. This is why they're bending over backwards trying to rig the game before it's played. They know that when the playing field is level, when everyone can vote and participate in our process, they lose. That's why they're doing everything they can to try to suppress communities of color from voting.
Per Zerlina's comment that really they don't have, for example, an infrastructure plan, Kurt, I mean, what do you see as agenda items that they could be talking about? Is it really just saying culture wars seem to be getting headlines for us and getting a fanatic base? We'll stick with that.
Well, it tells you so much that they're spending all their energy talking about things like Dr. Seuss and boycotting baseball or Coca-Cola, and not talking about the things that there is overwhelming support from the American people on. Things like infrastructure, things like COVID relief, things like getting vaccines. I mean, they've taken a position and a posture where really it's no on everything, from gun reform to environmental reform to clean energy to technological development to democracy and voting to balancing the scales of oppression in this country. They're against everything, and ultimately you cannot build a party that can be successful when all that you do is say no, and the other party gets to claim victory after victory and demonstrate to the American people things that they're doing every day to make their lives better.
Zerlina, Congressman Matt Gaetz spoke to a pro-Trump women's group yesterday, describing himself as a champion of women, all while under federal investigation for sex trafficking. And there was also a statement released from the women in his office supporting him, but it wasn't actually signed by any of them. What do you make of that?
Well, okay, we have to put a stop to this entire practice of, if you're accused of sexual misconduct or misbehavior as a man, that you get all of the women that you know that you have not abused to sign a letter or some sort of statement saying he's a really nice guy. That's not how this works. You have to look at what the women are saying that he is alleged to have engaged in inappropriate conduct with. And in this case, we're not talking about, a joke at the office. We are talking about something really serious. And I think, we need to hone in on the fact that, as much as this story has, salacious details and, talk of sugar daddies, what we are talking about in this case with Matt Gaetz, he is under investigation for human trafficking of a minor across state lines. That is a very serious charge. This investigation appears to be unfolding, and he has a lot of trouble coming up soon if the reports are true that Joel Greenberg, according to his attorney, is planning to make a deal. And I think that the more we learn about this case, the more we're going to be disturbed by the details coming out, because we're talking about something that's very serious. It's not a laughing matter in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and Gaetz has denied the very serious allegations. He hasn't been charged yet. The investigation's ongoing here. But let's listen to some of what Gaetz said yesterday.
After the Russia hoax, the knockoff Ukraine impeachment sequel, and an election that was stolen as a consequence of illegal last-minute changes to the rules, folks have sort of gotten to know that I'll take on the establishment of both parties, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I won't be intimidated by a lying media, and I won't be extorted by former DOJ officials and the crooks he is working with. The truth will prevail.
I mean, some of what he says there is pretty familiar, hearing words of hoax, Kurt. He's digging his heels in. He's refusing to resign. Is this a new page in the playbook here? The new strategy is just deny, deny, deny?
Well, it seems more like Back to the Future here. He's taking what has been the Donald Trump playbook for the last 4 years and trying to adopt it himself. I think the problem is there's going to be evidence, there's going to be testimony, there's going to be irrefutable facts coming out here. And I think really the pressure now is on the rest of his colleagues, his Republican colleagues. How much longer are they comfortable letting Matt Gaetz sit on the House Judiciary Committee, which has oversight over the Justice Department that's investigating him? How much longer are they comfortable having someone like Matt Gaetz with very credible accusations coming forward here and having him have this position in their conference and their caucus? How comfortable are they inviting him to participate in events and conferences and party building, things like what's going on right now in Florida? The longer that this goes on, the more information that comes out, the worse and worse it looks for his Republican colleagues who right now, by letting him participate, letting him sit on the Judiciary Committee, they are enabling someone that they know is guilty of bad conduct.
Kurt Bardella, thank you so much for joining us. Also,